Everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about the 2024 Senate race in the state of Texas and how polls are showing it could be increasingly competitive, but in the end, we'll get to all this, but in the end, I really doubt it will be. But looking at this new polling data, coming from the state of Texas, we have multiple pollsters that are showing a much closer race than it was a few months ago. Now, if you don't know, the incumbent Republican Senator Ted Cruz, very famous nationwide, is running for a third term, I believe, in the Senate, and the Democratic nominee to face off against Ted Cruz in this race is a congressman named Colin Allred. Now, looking at some polling. Now, this from the YouGov and the University of Texas. Months ago, they had Ted Cruz up by 16%. It was reduced to 13%. Now, in the newest poll coming from these pollsters, it shows Cruz up by 9%. So, Colin Allred has gained 7 points on Cruz. The University of Texas, Tyler shows. Some time ago, Ted Cruz was up by 5%. Now he is only up by 3%. And then another pollster had Cruz up by 7, now just up by 5. And then really the most stunning of all, the last pollster had Cruz up by 9 some time ago, and now has Ted Cruz only up by 3% in the state of Texas, which, is the margin that he won by back in 2018, and that race is known for being incredibly close. So, this is an increasingly tight race that isn't getting much attention. This is also seen, this basically just goes over what I showed you, but the newest polls show a very close race, 3% from two pollsters. So this could be a very close race, and I brought up 2018 for a reason. In 2018, of course, we had Beto O'Rourke as the nominee against Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz won by some 2.5% about. Now, this was notoriously close. Some people thought that Beto O'Rourke did stand a chance. In the end, he did, and it was a very close race, but in the end, he lost. So this time around, we have Colin Allred. Here's this picture. He's a congressman. And even though this is showing a close race, that's important. The fact that Texas is becoming close, that is a very good sign for Dems, because what that does is it means that Republicans are going to have to divert resources from states that, other states that they could win, that they could flip to take control of the Senate. Like Wisconsin, like Michigan, or Pennsylvania, or Nevada, or Arizona, or Montana, or Ohio, the most swingy of the states, of the battleground states in 2024. And instead, they have to put them in a state that they should have been winning no matter what, like Texas. So this is definitely a good sign for Dems that it does become closer. Now, I would caution, I don't think that Colin Allred really stands any chance. Looking in 2024, I just feel that given this is a presidential election, I doubt, if Democrats were to win the state of Texas at some point in a Senate election, it would have been 2018, because 2018, you had Trump as president, and there was a blue wall nationwide. Additionally, it wasn't it was a midterm election. It wasn't on a presidential ballot, and what we know was proven time after time is that voters are much more partisan, meaning, or when it comes to presidential or Senate or just federal elections in general, but mostly presidential. When you have a presidential choice on that ballot, considering that Texas is a Republican state, that means that more voters are going to vote Republican on the Senate level as well, because they had just voted Republican on the presidential level. So the point is, the presidential election being held on the same ballot absolutely helps Ted Cruz. And in 2018, if the Democrats weren't able to do it then, especially in a blue wave year, I doubt they will be able to do it this time with the presidential election on the same ballot. That has a huge impact. Voters are very partisan, and they don't like to split ticket vote, meaning they don't like to vote for one party on the presidential level and then the different party on the Senate level. That doesn't really happen anymore, or very rarely, I should say, in these deeply partisan times. So Beto O'Rourke, being the extremely strong candidate that he was back in 2018, he would have been the one. And Colin Allred, I'm not saying is a weak candidate by any means. He's running great ads. He's hitting Cruz on the issues very effectively, it looks like, in these commercials. He's actually gotten a few viral commercials on social media. But still, the presidential election and the partisanship of, any state, but especially a Republican state like Texas, will just be, too much to handle, I believe. And yes, it's becoming close. But I also want to note, before we move on to another point, is the fact that, this polling showing that it is an increasingly close race, polls really do not account for split ticket voting. They never do. Polls this time around are, right now in the 2024 election, the same pollster will have Trump up by like 5 in the state of Wisconsin, and then the Democrat for Senate, Tammy Baldwin, up by like 9. That is impossible. That will not happen in this age of politics. They simply doesn't account for split ticket voting as much as actual election results do. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, looking at the 2022 races in the state of Texas, Greg Abbott, the Republican governor, won re-election against actually Beto O'Rourke. Of course, he ran against Ted Cruz in 2018. But let's just look at the trend map. For years we've been talking about how Texas is becoming more Democratic. However, that was not proven true in 2022 because it was more of a Republican-favored year. And the fact of the matter is, 2024, by all indications, is going to be much more Republican than even 2022. So 2024 will be more Republican than 2022, and Texas shifted heavily towards Republicans in 2022. This is the trend map. You see that almost the entire state shifted Republican from the 2020 presidential election results to the 2022 gubernatorial election results. And what do we see? We see that almost the entire state shifts red, some by 12 points, or in this case 14 points in Palmer County, while, extremely few counties shifted, Democratic, just in the Rio Grande area. So Texas is now becoming more Republican, and then, you look at the election results from 2020, Trump won by 5.6. He's absolutely going to increase this margin in 2024, near double it probably. I'm looking somewhere around a 9-point margin for Trump in Texas in 2024. That's my prediction. The polls are currently showing, just about that, an 8.2% lead. So with this, with Texas now, getting even more Republican in 2024, the fact of the matter is, there's not enough split ticket voting in this age of politics, of American politics, for Colin Allred to possibly win. However, this polling is good sign for Dems. I currently think that Ted Cruz does win by a likely margin, meaning more than 5%, probably somewhere around 5 to 6%. But even still, the fact that now this is an area of concern for Republicans in a very bad map, in a very bad Senate map for Democrats, this is the good news they needed so that they could, further defend their seats and maybe chip away, so Republicans have to divert resources, etc. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. It helps out a lot. Drop a comment to let me hear your thoughts. Also leave a like, and I will see you all next time.